Okay, drone fans, so before launching, we want to check the weather conditions, and the UAV app gives us all that good stuff. So it's saying that we have 10-mile-per-hour winds. It's blowing up to 20 miles per hour, that's the gust, and it's blowing in a southwesterly direction. So that's a lot of good information we can use. So it means we can't go too far today, guys. So we're going to be pushing her as far as we can and then come right back. So now we jump into the DJI Fly app. Just going to click OK to allow that connection with the controller. And we're going to skip the pre-flight checklist. And we're also going to click Don't Show again, followed by Confirm. So with that out of the way, we can do our launch.
Takeoff. Home point updated.
And already you can hear the wind kind of blowing in the background there. So we're just going to allow her to go as far as we can, guys. Just trying to get a nice straight direction going out to those mountains. And it's a nice overcast day. We're just taking our time heading out. And you can see that this is beautiful scenery. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if this content is useful to you, then of course you can always subscribe. So now we're heading all the way out to these mountains, and you can see that there is some cloud coverage covering some of the hills here, making for a very beautiful landscape. And as we're going out, we are passing about 1,000 feet now. Our signal is still strong at about 4 bars. We have about a couple satellites. We have a couple satellites there. And I'm just getting my position all lined up with the drone. Now remember, when you're doing these kind of tests, guys, you want to ensure that the controller is lined up perfectly with the drone, and also that there is no obstacle in your way to block that signal. So I'm just bringing up the attitude meter, and as you can see, it's perfectly leveled, even though the app says that it is not good to fly. In a moment, these conditions are going to change because the wind at that altitude, it does not stay one way for too long. So you have to keep your eyes on the attitude meter, guys, as you're flying out. Approaching 3,000 feet now, and we are on, what is this, 85% power. So it's using the power quite nicely. We are recording in 4K at about 30 frames per second, or 30 FPS. And I'm just keeping my eyes on that attitude meter, guys. So at the minute there's any changes, of course it's going to affect our flight plan. But just look at these hills and these trees down below. It's in the month of February, so quite a few of these trees are changing color in terms of leaves. I'm just rocking the gimbal up so you guys can get a nice view of this countryside here. And this is what I like about this little drone, because even though it's small, its wind resistance is pretty good for its weight. And just like that, guys, we are over 7,000 feet. Just pausing here to take in the scenery. So I'm just panning around to show you guys what the mountains look like in all its glory. Just look at the state of these hills, guys. Jamaica is a wonderful place indeed. So I'm just giving you guys a wide view of what the hills look like in this area. And I'm just turning around just to face my launch point. So we are about 70% of power. We have about 13 minutes, give or take, of flight time remaining. I'm seeing now 10 minutes. So notice that the timer keeps adjusting, and that's based on the amount of wind that this drone has to deal with while it's up there. So based on our altitude, which is 34 feet from our launch point, so if we are to go any higher, it most definitely means that we're going to have a lot of wind to deal with, and that's the reason why I'm keeping it at this altitude. So I'm just slowly coming back. If we look at how fast this thing is going, it's going between 11 to 12 miles per hour. Under normal conditions though, this thing can clock up to 23 or more miles per hour in calmer conditions. So that there is another sign that, there's a lot of wind gusting up there. So you use that as a sign to come back home whenever you see it, crab walking like this. So now it's up to 14, 15, fluctuating, and our bars you'll see coming in and out as well, going between 3 and 4 bars. There we go. So it's redlining every now and again. And if we look at our attitude meter, we see too that the wind is coming slightly from the west, and that's the reason why the drone is banking towards that direction to compensate for that push force from the wind. And look at the angle now, guys. It's banking really, really sharply to the right. And now I'm just playing with the map just to make sure that we are coming back using the most efficient path possible, and that of course is following that red line on our map. And look at the state of these hills, guys. Nothing but trees and natural life out here. And that's the reason why I like to do my range tests here, because it's just a calm and serene environment to get it done. So just bringing up my map here just to make sure that everything is good and everything seems okay. It's going between 13 to 14 miles per hour. We've got about 8 minutes left. It's not ideal, but it's not that bad either. So we're just trying to come back as quickly as possible before this thing gets to critical, because we all know what happens when we start hearing that beeping sound. So we're slowly coming back, and as we come back, the signal should improve. We have about 27 satellites connected, so if she should go down, we should be able to locate this drone very, very easily. Hopefully it does not go down, because I don't plan to trek through all this mountainside to get it back. Getting a strong wind warning, guys. Check that out. And you hear the vibration. There it is. So it's a very useful indicator, guys. You want to pay close attention to that if it starts vibrating and you get that warning. Now we are not home yet. We have about 4,000 feet and closing to cover, but we're doing well, pretty so far. And also we're flying in normal mode, which I have found to be the most effective mode to fly in. And you'll notice too that every now and again I keep rocking the gimbal up and down. It's barely moving. Yes, it uses a bit more power when you do that, but this thing should be able to manage just fine coming back. If we were to go any further, it would definitely cause problems coming back. So a good part of doing your range test is knowing when and where to stop and to return home. Okay, so every now and again you see me opening that mini map and realigning my position. That's the home point there. And look at how much we have drifted off course, guys. That blue line represents our flight path that we have taken, and that red line represents the shortest path to come back. And as you can see, it is barely moving. We're now at what, 15 to 17 miles per hour, and it keeps fluctuating as the wind rises and falls. So yeah, it's coming back nice and easy. We are now approaching 2,000 feet and closing. So this range test is going pretty smoothly. We have roughly 4 minutes of flight time left. And look at the bars, guys. Notice that we got full signal again. And we're now crossing over a roadway which is embedded in these mountains. Just slowly rocking the gimbal up so we can have a better view of what is in front of us. And there you see me every now and again getting some video. So I'll have that 4K footage up so you guys can see what it looks like shooting in 4K with the DJI Mini 2 as we're coming back. Now we're approaching about 1,000 feet, so we're very close to our launch point. Okay, so we're nearly home, just passing over this hill here. Just like that, guys, we are nearly home, so we're just taking our time to come back in. We now have about 20, what is this, 25% power. We got 3 minutes left of flight time, but that's okay. We're officially home, so I'm gonna be landing in a couple seconds. And that, guys, is the ending of our range test. We got to about 7,006. We got to about roughly 7,800 feet. So that's a pretty far distance in these windy conditions, and it's just further proof as to how much of a beast this little drone is. So if you're considering whether or not you should buy one of these, I say go for it if you have the cash and try it for yourself. It never lets me down, and it's just a wonderful must-have accessory if it is that you want to get splendid shots of the natural life and landscape. So if you found anything useful in this video,
Time to change
don't
them.
forget to subscribe. Don't
If
forget
there's
to
anything
like. Don't
else that you
forget to
want to
share.
learn about these batteries,
And
feel free to
you
comment
know the
down
drill,
below.
guys.
It's Jamdong
Until
Drones
then,
over and out.
it's Jamdong Drones over and